Hi, good evening, and welcome to APU and Industry Career Live webinar sessions. My name is Ahmad Afshan, and I'll be the host for this session. Today is the first day of our APU and Industry Career Live webinar sessions, and this is the third session for today. Of course, over the weekend, we'll be having more sessions covering various different topics. For those who have missed our previous sessions this morning, they are available to watch on our Facebook and our YouTube channels. While we also have more webinars happening over this weekend, as I mentioned earlier, the APU and Industry Career live webinar series will cover areas such as data science, cybersecurity, artificial intelligence, engineering, actuarial studies, design, media, and fintech. We would also like to invite you to come and join our APU e-Open Day, which is happening now. Our counselors are ready to guide you through all the pathways available here at APU after your SPM and help you make an informed decision. For more information, you may log into our website at www.apu.edu.my. As far as today's session is concerned, today we have Prof. Vinesh, the Deputy Vice Chancellor and Chief Innovation Officer here at Asia Pacific University. And joining Prof. Vinesh is Mr. Dash Dakshinamurthy, the Entrepreneur in Residence, and also Mr. Dash leads the Enterprise at APU initiative. They'll be talking more about creating the spark of entrepreneurship at APU. So let me invite our speakers for today. Hi, Prof. Vinesh. Hi, Mr. Dash. Welcome.
Hi. Good evening, Afshan. Thank you for the kind introduction. Hi, Dash.
Hi, Prof. Hi, Afshan. Thank you for having me join you guys.
We are back on roll, Dash.
Back on the roll.
Yeah. Create the spark on entrepreneurship at APU. That's our topic for today, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome again to our APU and Industry Career webinar. So we'll take you on a journey over the next 1 hour on elements and impacts that we have for you in terms of entrepreneurship on campus. And with me is Dash, who is our entrepreneur in residence at APU. Dash has got distinctive and very in-depth experience in building entrepreneurship mindsets, innovative skills, and leading to the young building their own startups. Let me share my slides for this evening, and we can move ahead with our presentation as soon as I share my slides. Okay, just a quick check. Dash, you can see my slides?
It's loading. Yes, now I can see them. Yeah, very nice.
Okay, let's roll then. Okay, so to source and vet potential entrepreneurial talent targets, to ensure that coaching is run in the right way, mentorship is done in an in-depth manner on our APU talents, and to also work with key industry and community partners to help develop the entrepreneurial culture at APU. As part of the Enterprise and Innovation Hub, we have Dash on board as our entrepreneur in residence. So our objectives for the Enterprise and Innovation Hub on campus is basically to do three things. To develop capital and capacity building, to ensure that technology is infused in the mindset of our students, and lastly, to build expertise in navigating a daunting regulatory environment in terms of building startups and getting them onto IP, intellectual property, commercialization, and the likes. So Dash is a very experienced, renowned entrepreneur who's now sharing his trade in the startup market and also with the youth in Malaysia. And this today is a great two-way communication in terms of bringing you some insights to entrepreneurship and innovation at APU. So let me start by telling you a bit of history. So, if we talk about human progress over time, when we talk about humans, right, basically we come to the scientific term of biology. So biology horns natural technologies, so as to speak. with the correct DNA, blueprints which are part of the foundation of the correct DNA can be used as correct tools that can be built to know who has the talent and who can have the creative mindset. Yeah. So as this process plays out generation after generation, as you can see, over geological time scales, yeah, it's been a long period, as you can see in the scale and the chart. We have actually incrementally and has been an incredible growth in terms of building on this genetic process, progress and process from the day we started as humans. Yeah, and each generation of technology improves over the last, and the rate of progress only develops a version that speeds up. So that's why you can see in the later century there is an upscaling which is very exponential. Yeah. Now, if you move on to the technology itself, now this acceleration in technology can be measured in the returns of technology. So the returns of technology we sort of identify as speed, efficiency, price performance, and overall power, the empowerment, which improves exponentially as well. So that's the measurement, as you can see, as the technology curve starts to push up. Yeah. Now, further as technology becomes more effective, it attracts more attention. And we as people, humans, we are attracted to technology simply because it improves our lifestyle, it speeds up our daily activities. Yeah, this is a result which is a flood of new resources. So when we say about new resources, we say things about R&D budgets, recruitment of top talent, yeah, which are all directed to further improving the technology. So that keyword there, which I'm going to repeat, is top talent. Now, this wave of new resources also triggers a second level of exponential growth. Now, this second level of exponential growth also begins to accelerate. So the second level is improving on the technology which already exists. So if we take the mobile phone will only scale up. If you take entertainment devices, that will only scale up. If you take a car, that will only scale up, for example. Yeah, and this growth is over time, and at the moment, time is of the essence. So, what is the impact of technology towards talents moving into the workforce? And that's a very important factor, because these are things that one cannot control. It evolves by itself. Yeah. And Dash, what are your thoughts on this, Dash?
First and foremost, thank you very much, Prof, for the great introduction, and thanks for having me. Yes, like you have rightly said, our growth, technological growth, has been consistent for the many years, and suddenly there has been a upward trajectory exponentially from 1900. So computers are taking over. The speed in which computers power is going, as they say, computer power doubles at every 18 months, it halves the price. And all these things are happening. And as we will see, that as technology accelerates and becomes very much central to our being, it also takes over a lot of work that the human being can do. So whatever repetition, whatever codified, whatever that can be codified, it will be taken over by technology, and that's the real thing that will happen. So what should humans do? What should youth like you do when you go into the workforce, when you go into the world? And if you are, say, 20 years, and you will probably have about 50 more years of your working life. And how should you go into the world with 50 years of productive working life, with technology going rapidly, at an exponential growth? How are you going to put yourself and compete? Are you going to compete with technology, or are you going to work hand in hand with technology? What are you going to do? These are questions that has actually been troubling a lot of people, a lot of parents, a lot of youth, a lot of educators. And before we dive into that and how APU is preparing you for this, let's look at some of the trends in the workplace. Yeah, look at every single sector. There has been a lot of retrenchments globally, and these retrenchments were happening regardless of COVID or no COVID. Even without COVID, if there was no COVID, you would not be affected directly, because most of the things will be taking place at the periphery from your perspective. But now with COVID, that you have to stay home and work and look at the computer every day, and you can't meet your friends, you'll find that the COVID has impacted you directly. But without COVID, these changes are still happening. And you can see that, in many of these sectors, in the red lines, there has been massive displacement of human talent.
Yeah, Dash, that is a current fear with the pandemic in hand, that there are unavoidable retrenchments globally. And now a lot of these retrenchments, we show it on the screen right now, tracking over 1,041 companies. You see a lot of them. Retrenchment does not also mean the end of the game. It only means
correct.
a company is revolutionizing, and a company is now fighting the current economic scenario in order to betterment its business and operations. And that's how companies will evolve, and new jobs will be created, and these will be smart jobs, and a lot of these smart jobs will also pop out based on innovation that is leading to new product development. And that is some of the trends that we are seeing. These are statistics that are real. Now, if you look at the two key factors that are causing retrenchments, based on what Dash said earlier, it is very simply put as in automation and the pandemic itself. And what you see there is some statistics on both, and how both, if you take back 5 years, in terms of 2016 versus the 2030 estimation, you can see the differences in terms of a lot of the skills that are being produced. So skills which are being produced are also changing based on the job market. Now, if I want to say the focus on automation and digitization, right? The initiatives always surround Industrial Revolution 4.0. So the fourth industrial revolution would certainly encourage a lot of local companies to immediately step up their investment in automation in order to remain cost competitive and innovative. Now, this is a strategic imperative for businesses to survive and thrive in the new post-COVID economy. And that's why you can see that the current jobs of COVID-19, which have been impacted, will now change and produce newer jobs based on the lessons learned. So last year alone, right, if I take the World Economic Forum, they published a report revealing the rise of machines and automation that would eliminate 85 million jobs by 2025. But at the same time, it expects, this is from the report, right? It expects to create 97 million new jobs. So that's an addition of 12 million new jobs, and this is part of the upskilling of any local or global workforce to ensure that they are sufficiently equipped. Now, we at APU, our programs are very niche, very focused. The focus here is on job creation. Our talents will go into the newly job created environments. So efforts towards rationalizing automation and digitization is there to help businesses make effective use of the resources. So it is important that every company equips their manpower with the capability to sort of improve productivity, deploy technology in the right way, and more importantly, speed up is very critical in terms of progressive move forward to not only achieve cost competitiveness, but also to ensure that the current workforce that they have remains intact, remains relevant towards the targeted highly skilled and highly income job segments which are awaiting us. It's not only global, it's very much in Malaysia as well. And this is in line with moving the nation towards a highly income nation, yeah, and a highly income economy. So these are important factors to consider as part of the innovation and entrepreneurial growth, because whatever we say in terms of post-pandemic and the new jobs that are going to be created, a lot of it also align itself towards the type of uh, fundamentals that are put in place towards mindsets to create the mindsets to come up with new ideas, the mindsets and character to go into the entrepreneurial space. Because being entrepreneurial doesn't only mean that you are going towards a startup or building a business. It is also being entrepreneurial within a job. So you could take up an employment and you have to be always innovative in your mindset, because that's how you are going to portray yourself as a contributor to the company. And that's very important. Uh, you see, there is a very important slide here, and this is what Kasparov said. And Kasparov, Dash, you know this because you always said many things about Kasparov. And what do you think about Kasparov and his theories?
No, I think, one interesting experiment they did was, which basically drives the point of what you were saying earlier. When Kasparov played chess with a computer, he basically lost because, a computer can essentially predict the next, work out what are the potential 2,000 possible moves to make, and he's basically lost. So he says that if you are just being tactical, that means you are just working at a lower level where you're doing routinized work, the computer will take over. Whereas when he actually partnered with the computer and he said the computer does the tactical part and I as the human with the knowledge does the strategic part, then they found that that combination really made them win many other games against the computer. So although algorithms will take over a lot of routinized jobs, the demand for individuals, students, young people to become real problem solvers, become strategic, and become thinkers will make you work hand in hand with the codified and the world of algorithms, and to make you to become better value creators. So what we are saying is, what brings you to that kind of a skill set, apart from being whether you're an engineer or whether you're a biogenetics person or whether you're a doctor, whatever you are, what makes you become strategic and makes you become a value creator is this skill set, action set, and mindset that we call entrepreneurial. Now, let me just dive deep into this entrepreneurial thing. Yeah. Now, entrepreneurial means before 1776, to go to the history, human beings have always acted. The DNA or the gene pool in humans have always been entrepreneurial, which basically means they've always acted, explored, created, done things, taken risk, failed in a small way and learned and went up. And only 1776 onwards, when Adam Smith wrote the Economic Treatise, where he was framing the economy of the world, when the space of the entrepreneur, the definition of the entrepreneur, and all that stuff came about. So entrepreneurialism was basically related to business and the economy from 1776 onwards. But now, if you look at it from a historical perspective, you need to bring back that enterpriser in you, that venturer within you, and that is what entrepreneurial skills give. And that's what we are trying to do in Project Enterprise in Asia Pacific University, which I'm actually jumping the gun. We'll talk about it with Prof a bit more. And yeah, Prof, that's basically what Kasparov was saying, and about students being tactical, and being entrepreneurial, and being strategic.
I just want to take a cue from you, Dash. There's a quote from Walt Disney. It states, "It's fun to do the impossible," and that is a perfect setting for someone who wants to go into the entrepreneurial space. Now, also let me give you a very good story as an example, and this story is called "Mashing Faces." Yeah, and you will know the key person in the story very well. So in his sophomore year at Harvard, a very relatively quiet student worked diligently on a program called Face Mash. As he nestled in the corner of his dormitory room and chipped away at his coding, he developed a program that would not only change the world, but would also change people's perception of data collection and how people think of personal privacy. And of course, this person is Mark Zuckerberg. So Mark Zuckerberg's Face Mash drew at first go 450 visitors and 22,000 photo views in its first launch within 4 hours of being online. Now, this site was always known very well because it was soon shut down by the university faculty, claiming it had violated copyrights, privacy of individuals, and had security breaches. Now, ultimately, the university dismissed the claims, and Zuckerberg was confident he would move on to something. So, basically, what he did was he faced an obstacle in his ideation, which he also piloted. Now, he continued to develop on a social media platform, hence the development and the what we use today as Facebook. It is nothing like anything before. Anything of any sort of online directory, but eventually it was worked out as what is now simply known as Facebook. So basically, he had developed his idea and put it on the roll, even though he faced challenges. So he was a university student at that time, and he managed to do that, and that was a great achievement by him. Let's move on and let's look about the global perspective of youths of today. Now, Dash, you have worked with many youths, not only in Malaysia, but also worldwide. What is your take on this 1.8 billion people of young people, aged between 15 to 30 in the world today? And how is the global perspective in terms of how youths are moving, and they are also movers and shakers of the economy at that very young age?
Yeah, thank you, Prof. So this is an Economist report. It's a few years old. I mean, there could be more people now. It's 1.8 billion people from 15 to 30. What I like to draw the attention to the youth today is that 60% of them will enter jobs, the job market where the job doesn't exist. Actually, I just received McKinsey report that says in 8 countries alone, China, France, Germany, India, Japan, Spain, and the UK, by 2030, more than 100 million workers will need to switch occupations. Now back to youth of today. I think the youth of today are having a lot of opportunities in the world. So many opportunities are there, but they are also confronted with a lot of challenges. Like we just started the whole presentation with exponential growth, and exponential growth brings with it uncertainty. Exponential growth brings with it, I don't know what to do. I don't know where to go, because if I study this, will this be relevant tomorrow? Everything is changing rapidly. Will my degree be useful? Should I be going to this university or that university, or should I even be going to university? So the youth today are confronted by 2 big things. One is the dream of wanting to fit in, wanting to succeed, wanting to make your mark. And the other is the huge doubt whether will you even succeed or will you even fit in. So these are competing forces that are working with youth. So what we would like to suggest is that how you view the world is how you make the world that is going to be ahead of you. And how you fit in is how you make the world. So how do you see the world? You see the world as opportunity rich. Okay, there are challenges. So we always believe that every problem, there is an opportunity. Okay, every problem is an opportunity. The bigger the problem, the bigger the opportunity. And entrepreneurs do a lot more with a lot less. So developing an entrepreneurial mindset essentially gives you the agency to say, I don't know what is ahead of me. I cannot predict, or I cannot predict long enough, but I can act. I can act and I can make changes a step at a time, and I can navigate this change and create the world that I want to make or for myself, and move on. And that's the key of entrepreneurship. So entrepreneurship is all about navigating uncertainty. It started off with navigating uncertainty. It started off many years ago when people were designing tools to fight the animals. As, oh, I don't know how to fight this. As an entrepreneurial, it's basically navigating uncertainty. So that's one of the main things that we are putting together in Asia Pacific University, which is how do you become anti-fragile, which essentially means how do I become better with change? How do I become better with chaos? How do I become better with uncertainty? By acting, by learning from the action, by failing in a small way that you can afford to fail, and climbing back and riding the wave again. So you become like a surfer in the ocean. And if you look at the surfer in the ocean, what happens is that you actually surf the ocean, you enjoy the ride, but you also fall and you are ready to climb again and catch the next wave. And that's the mindset that an entrepreneurial person would have.
That's interesting, Dash, because what comes with entrepreneurial mindset is also the skills that support and profile a student on their journey on campus with APU. Now, a lot of people talk about the skills of tomorrow, and they're unsure because the jobs of tomorrow are undefined at this moment in time. But
Yes,
what
absolutely.
are the core skills of tomorrow that one could be certain that will help them once they finish a 3 or 4 year journey with APU? Now, we know across universities, everyone has the common usual competencies already embedded in the curriculum. But let me tell you, at APU, we have embedded beyond the common core competencies. And let me share with you what we have in APU that sort of overlaps and sorts of ties in with the entrepreneurial DNA that is embedded in the curriculums. So these competencies I will share with you now is from a digital angle. So the first one, I've got 5 of them, Dash, and I'm going to share all 5. The first one, ladies and gentlemen, is cognitive flexibility. So with the rise of digital technologies, it also means that a person is going to need to be able to handle the plethora of opportunities and challenges that come with it. So one can ask, do you have the ability to adapt to change, to conceptualize complex multiple ideas all at one go? If one is showing those qualities, then you reside in that advanced multitasking credibility or skill, which is now highly valued by employers and recruiters. Yeah. Now, the second competency is, of course, digital literacy and computational thinking. Now, I talk across the board. Yeah, when I say computational thinking, it is also for the social sciences. And so, as the world continues to rely highly on sort of technical and continuous evolving technologies, there is a need for those with the digital skills to match the increase in the evolving technologies and the increase in technicality. So you have heard of STEM. Yeah, STEM is science, technology, engineering, mathematics. We all know that. We all know the deficiency in terms of ratios, whether it's in this country or whether it's globally. But have you heard of SMAC? SMAC, Social, Mobile, Analytics, and Cloud. Now, this is a new competency, SMAC, that we have started and we are quite good at it at APU. Because you may seem that we're always getting bombarded with digital buzzwords, right? And we, Dash, you and me, we get bombarded every day with these new digital buzzwords. But being digitally literate offers the capabilities beyond what was once thought as possible when it comes to emerging technologies. So what we do is we sort of push across the board to develop AI, machine learning, the Internet of Things, data science. This is now core competencies as part of the digital literacy movement on at APU. Now, the third one is judgment and decision making. Now, this is a very important competency because even though we know that automation and technology that comes with automation may be better than humans in many ways, right? Especially in calculations and diagnostic solving. But it is still going to be humans that deal with subjective side of data analytics. So considering that we are on the driving side of the IR 4.0, we are still going to need somebody who is able to show the world what numbers mean and their significance. Yeah. So this numbers is not only in engineering, is not only in computer science, it is also in finance, accounting, business, management, marketing, and so forth. Yeah. The fourth competency is actually emotional and social intelligence. So for everything that can be replaced by digital technologies or AI, or emotional and social intelligence remains uniquely human. It's a human capability. So in some sectors, for example, these qualities are absolutely crucial. The future jobs, the future jobs where entrepreneurs can go in with the entrepreneurial mindset is more likely going to include working closely with others. So having empathy, having the ability to collaborate, as well as excellent communication skills are something uh, that is definitely going to be needed. So being entrepreneurial doesn't mean you work alone. You will have to work with others. And that is another form of competency. Now, the last one is being creative and innovative, having that mindset. And that is definitely spot on for today's talk and webinar. Much like having an excellent sense of social intelligence, natural creativity is something which can't be easily replicated by the latest digital technologies. Yeah, as long as you can think outside the box, you'll be fine. And that is an important competency to have, because that is the one that is going to set you aside from others within your or set aside between your peers. Yeah. Let's move on now to what we just talked about. Having that DNA, having that core competencies. How do we actually embark on being an entrepreneur? Who is an entrepreneur, Dash? Who is actually an entrepreneur?
Yeah, it's actually very interesting, Prof. You gave us about the five skills. Apart from the first one, the second one, which is computational, the cognitive, judgmental, emotional, or social and creative, and all these are very human skills, right? A human skill that is basically suggests that someone in the face of a rapid acceleration of technology, the demand is for someone to become a more and more competent human. So to me, a competent person will be a T-shaped person who will have a domain skill, a domain specialty, plus a broad range of other skills, plus all the human skills. And back to your question about who is an entrepreneur. So, like I said in the beginning, that someone who acts in an uncertain environment, someone who brings resources that are not currently under his control, someone who is able to bring different kinds of people, stakeholders or partners or work with people to birth the new, to bring something of novel value, is an entrepreneur. It may not, the birthing the new need not be something that never existed before. It could be a recombination of things. Someone who puts together a massive, say, an event, says, okay, I want to imagine that this event, I'm going to put together this. Even, to give another example, even someone who says, I'm going to make together a rock band. anything that you want to bring to the fore to bring value to people, and you are bringing various factors in, is an entrepreneur. There was even a time where merchants were called entrepreneurs. So they say someone who, like the great professor at MIT used to say, an entrepreneur is someone who brings the trait of a pirate and the discipline of a Navy SEAL. Someone who can make something happen, but in a systematic way to build something. It doesn't necessarily mean build a company. So if you are an engineer and you are going to work with an organization and you don't want to start a company yet, and you bring this entrepreneurial DNA into that organization you are working with, and you have all the traits that Prof talked about earlier, from computational to cognitive to judgmental to emotional, and bringing people together and creative to make a project valuable to your employer and the employer stakeholders, then you are an entrepreneur. And of course, on the other extreme is someone who has an idea and builds a startup and takes the startup forward, is also an entrepreneur.
I want to add, Dash, as an entrepreneur, I think one is also dealing with people every day. Yeah? You're dealing with yourself every day for sure, but you also
Definitely
need to push yourself forward and hold yourself back at times. Yeah, you need to motivate, inspire, coach, educate, assist, and listen to people, and that's what we do at APU. So we sort of build that charisma, that characteristic that will enable a student to be motivated, inspired. We definitely coach them, we educate them, and we assist them, and we give them the ability to learn from listening. Yeah, and you without these things, right, you cannot see great success. These are the core other characteristics that you have to embed in yourself. Now, by
Actually,
doing this, go ahead.
Sorry, Prof. Actually, there's something that's very unique about APU that I've seen, that you don't just push them for academic excellence, but towards also a great level of emotional intelligence, by working with people. And I find that a persona of a student in APU has both, he or she is driven to do well, at the same time has the characteristics of wanting to work with people and being humble at the same time. That's really, really something I find a massive difference. Sorry,
thank you. No, thank you, Dash, for giving that compliment, because I was just going to say, at APU, we are developing entrepreneurs and innovators, and we have been doing that since our inception, since the early 90s. And a true testament to this is the numerous awards that we have won at international, national competitions, exhibitions, and whatnot. We have built our talents to have that innovative and competitive mindset and character. A good example of this is in 2018 alone, and I was here to witness that, because in that year, right, we won 82 international and national tech awards, and it came out from from a single faculty, which to date, and I've researched this, is the highest in the world as an output from a single faculty in terms of awards won. And that is a true testament to how we have showcased our talent in the industry. Yeah. And moving on, what is entrepreneurship today? So entrepreneurship today, let me start with what we are doing at APU. So we are revolutionizing entrepreneurship at APU. Like I said earlier, we have been doing this since the 1990s, but we are currently revolutionizing the field of entrepreneurship. Since 2020, we have developed a new blueprint for APU's entrepreneurship and innovation. This is a 3-year blueprint from 2021 to 2023. It's a playbook and a guideline towards embarking towards our vision, mission, and goals of entrepreneurship and innovation at APU. Now, the blueprint ties in with Malaysia's National Entrepreneurship Agenda, the NEA, and it's also mapped versus the Entrepreneurship Integrated Curriculum, EIC, and the Entrepreneurship Integrated Education, the EIE, which was produced by the Ministry of Higher Education as part of their blueprint for developing entrepreneurs at tertiary level in March 2021. So as you can see, we have mapped our blueprint, our events, our activities, our curriculums, our expertise, our core ingredients for developing entrepreneurs and innovators at APU against the national agenda. And it has been beautifully mapped. We are spot on in terms of our direction. Now, if I talk about the curriculum, entrepreneurship modules and subjects that are common core are almost in all our curriculums. Yeah. But what we have done lately is also redesign the curriculums to suit a journey of growth for our students at certificate, diploma, and undergraduate levels. So if I deep dive into undergraduate, the growth is from year 1 to year 3. It covers the in-depth theories and practice of effectuation, innovative processes, and venture building. So it's a journey phase by phase. It's not a steep curve. It's a gradual exponential growth from year 1 to year 3. Basically, what we have done is embedded the entrepreneurial DNA into all our programs. And Dash, you've been part of this exercise as well. What is your view of entrepreneurship today?
Yeah, so that's basically the thing, Prof, that entrepreneurship today is about embracing uncertainty, about people what we have said there. The future is open-ended, it cannot be predicted, and is shapeable through human action, like the researcher Saraswati says. So that's what it is. It's about everyone can be entrepreneurial. Everyone today, every young people today, are going to be more than 5 billion people who are going to be online, connected to the internet. If you're young, energetic, smart, and you have the hunger, what you can do is you can become an entrepreneur. There's no better time than being an entrepreneur now. Many, many years ago when we started, if you need to start a company, you need to bring $500,000 ringgit, set up this or that or whatever it is. Today, to start a company is very cheap. The barriers to entries are low. The only thing that you will not be able to predict is how the technology is going to change, which other company is going to take over your business, who is going to outsmart you, and all those kind of things. And then you have a lot of data. There's so much of data that's out there, and you can basically predict some of the parts of what's going to be the growth. But what's more important is what Prof said earlier about the 5 skills and the entrepreneurial skills. If you have them, any one of you can build a large company. And you know that if you build a company and you can scale a company, today making 100 million ringgit from selling a company is nothing. It's a small thing. So entrepreneurship today has gone through a massive transformation. There's so much money available for great ideas and great execution team. If you have all the skill sets to go and build something and make something happen, you can very, very easily do that. And the world is basically your oyster. You don't have much barriers to overcome. So a click of a button, the best people in the world. You can connect through Facebook or through any of your social media, the right people to work with you, to help with you. All you have to do is ask. So if you have to be open to ask, you have to be enterprising to say, how can I make this happen? And that's what it is. We need to have people like that. We need to have more and more young people who are enterprising, who will say, I need to build this. I want to change this. I want to make that happen. And you have everything at your click of a button now.
That's interesting, Dash, because you said enterprising, and what we have done this year is sort of launch our Project Enterprise. So Project Enterprise, Dash is a very important figure in the running of Project Enterprise. We started Project Enterprise in March. It's due to complete in October 2021. So some of the major developments in Project Enterprise, I'll give you a short summary of it. The first one was to sort of develop and structure and develop and operationalize the entrepreneurship or the Entrepreneurial Council. We call it the EC. Now, The chair of this council is obviously the entrepreneur in residence, and the composition are a sort of a group of big guns. Yeah, so we've got representation from the Ministry of Entrepreneurship and some of the top agencies with reflection towards innovation and entrepreneurship. Some top profiles from MNCs or in the form of CTOs or CEOs, and also young startups who have made it big and who can basically share the experience. And the Entrepreneurial Council, the most important mission for them is to engage with our ecosystem through education, mentoring, and if possible, funding in the same collaborative space. Now, the vision of this council is basically to develop a very bold long-term vision as APU itself evolves in this space of entrepreneurship and innovation. Yeah, and to set that enterprising shift on campus. And what we want to do is build startups. We want to have them lead into the world of commercialization and help our students build on their strengths and their talents as we are a leading technology institution. Yeah, and that's important. What we have done is also this year formalize the academic entrepreneur ecosystem team. And we have the entire team in place as part of Project Enterprise. So all our lecturers and academicians at APU have the expertise to mentor, they have the technical knowledge. But this is the core team that is building the ecosystem, revolutionizing the ecosystem that was already in place. Yeah, and part of this is knowledge transfer to organize events, boot camps, the accelerator programs. Yeah, to be part of the curriculum overhaul, to sort of set the expectation in our talents, to build the leadership within the team itself, and they all have roles and responsibilities, and they're all KPI driven. And this is the beauty. So these are two areas that we have done as part of Project Enterprise. But further on, the true objective of Project Enterprise is also a very global objective, because we're not talking about just Malaysia. We want to set a footing onto the global stage. And Dash, you talked about anti-fragile humans and being anti-fragile. That was definitely one of our objectives. You want to share more insights on that?
Yeah, on anti-fragile?
Yes.
So, yeah. So, a lot of people talk about being robust, being resilient, and what have you. But anti-fragility is a concept that has been advanced by someone called Nassim Taleb in his paper and book called Anti-Fragile. What Anti-Fragile does is that you actually become better with change. Any mechanism or any organism or any human become better with change. That means now if there is a sudden change, many of us are surprised. Oh my God, COVID is there. And oh my God, this is there. And then suddenly everything comes to a grinding halt. And that is not the way, because as you saw earlier, the world is in a trajectory, in an exponential trajectory. You cannot predict many things. So how do you prepare yourself for such an uncertain world where abilities become disabilities, assets become liabilities? In the shorter and shorter period of time, your shelf life of whatever you know is becoming shorter. So what is being anti-fragile? Anti-fragile basically means you become a rapid learner. You become someone who are a sense maker. The 4-5 skills that Prof talked about earlier. The cognitive skills, ability to make sense of the world very quickly, and able to navigate this change very quickly. So that's what anti-fragility basically means, and that's how we are building it. And how are we building it? Maybe we can have a look at the structure of the enterprise project, Prof.
Yes.
Yeah. So, if I may go on with that.
Please go ahead.
Yeah. So what we have done is we have put together a funnel system where we are building this anti-fragility and entrepreneurial mindset. And not just these two. So if you saw our three goals, one is to build the anti-fragile human, that's the baseline. The secondly is to build enterprising people, which basically means build people who have the agency to act and make changes, whether you're an entrepreneur or not entrepreneur. And third is to create sustainable and meaningful startups. Let's say you want to really become a startup entrepreneur, that too. So it all funnels down. Okay, it starts with programs, events to say, okay, I don't know whether I want to be an entrepreneur or not, but I just want to be entrepreneurial. I just want to see what the entrepreneurs are talking about. For that, we have set up programs called the Enterprise Wednesday. Every 2 Wednesdays, second and the fourth Wednesday, you really get to speak with entrepreneurs. You really get to speak with people who have dirtied their hands and done something. So if you come with a notebook and set in every single Enterprise Wednesday till the end, you will actually be able to see a pattern emerging from ideation to execution to raising money to building a team to taking risks to taking whatever, how real entrepreneurs are actually have built their companies. And then we have put together the CEO CTO series, which is a series of talks by industry leaders, by CEOs of companies and large companies and all that. And then it's aimed at providing you a robust worldview of what it means to go out and work. So firstly, you get a taste, you get a sensitized feeling about what it means to be an entrepreneur. Secondly, you get a robust worldview of what's out there. So assuming you just want to go out and work, you mix both of this, you get to have some appreciation of being entrepreneurial and what's out there. But however, if you say, oh no, I really want to become an entrepreneur, I just want to get down to being an entrepreneur, then you get into our ideas bootcamp. Our ideation bootcamp. And once you're there, you say, hey, I've got these ideas, I want to test it out and whatever. In 57 hours, we are working with Techstars, one of the largest global tech accelerator program, to put together this thing called Startup Weekend. And there you test your ideas, you take your ideas to the next level, validate your ideas and whatever. So there you get a very quick, down and dirty way of, hey, what does it take to build a startup kind of a thing. And then finally, you say, okay, this is what it is. I've got an idea. I can take it out to market. Now what's next? And then we take you to an idea accelerator program. We take you to a whole journey. And from there on, we take you to a venture building program where we bring real venture capitalists, funding agencies, and all that. So you see, for the lack of a better analogy, from cradle to grave, ideas to market, we are putting together a very, very comprehensive, entrepreneur-friendly, student-friendly program where we are bringing mentors, we are bringing industry experts, we are bringing the industry, we are bringing governments, we are bringing funders, and all together in a nice ecosystem to take you on your journey, build anti-fragility, build an enterprising mindset, and take you, even if you want to build a venture, out into the market. So it's very comprehensive. I don't know how many education organizations out there have thought through this in a holistic manner. We are not just saying pushing you to just become a startup and just say go and be a startup. We are pushing you to think in a holistic manner. Even if your immediate venture fails, you know how to use these skills, use these networks, use these resources to build subsequent successful startups.
Thank you, Dash. That was a very clear definition of enterprise at APU and what we're doing as part of the Project Enterprise. What's also important is what we are doing in terms of, I finished my slides, so I'm going to just go now into what we can do in terms of, conversation, so basically what we're doing in terms of what's at APU is we're building this ecosystem, right? Revolutionizing enterprise on campus. And what we have done is basically also set a strategic phase-by-phase growth. So it's like part of the seeding, nourishing, and leading them to the ability to build a startup. And those are activities that are part of webinar series, as what Dash said, a lot of talks, fire chats, boot camps, and the accelerator program that gets them to that end goal of building a startup, and also building that character of entrepreneurial, embedding the entrepreneurial DNA into them. Now, we've come sort of to the end of our session today. Dash, I want to thank you for being part of this journey with me. We started this together. We are halfway there in terms of project enterprise this year. We have done a lot in the last 12 months in terms of revolutionizing enterprise entrepreneurship and innovation on campus. We are definitely going to work with our partners. There are some good names already being proposed, and some of the partnerships are going to take place very formally in the coming months. Do join us, students. Come and join APU from a perspective of you can now embark on this entrepreneurship journey. You can build that mindset. You can become a true innovator that can contribute to the national or the nation's economy. You can be part of the new set of skills for employment. You can be part of that journey. Yeah. So we've come to the end of this session today. I thank you for being with us. It has been very interesting, and I hope that it was also very informative for you. May I pass now the session back to the Afsan, who's the MC, and maybe there are any questions.
Hi, Prof. Vinesh. Hi, Dash. Thank you so much.
Hi.
At the moment, we don't have any questions, but actually, I have this question because we always talk to a lot of students, especially those who are going into studying in the field of computing and technology. Because like the APU curriculum also includes some management modules. I think in this first year. And I think this is a subject that not many students who go for computing and engineering programs like so much, because they always feel that why am I studying such a course when I'm doing something that's very much different from what my main program is. Do you think that students coming from the computing or engineering background, who are, as I see them, as who comes up with technologies and also solutions to address real world issues, do you think they need to really have a level of management knowledge to be or to go into that field of entrepreneurship?
Okay, I'll just take this from an academic perspective. You don't have to have the knowledge of management. In fact, some of the people in management, in terms of qualification, don't end up becoming good managers, if I may say so. But management, if I can give you one criteria that is important for entrepreneurs, is time management. Because when you go into this entrepreneurship journey, you have to manage your time. You have to know what is out there in terms of what you want to do. You have to prioritize. You have to see your competition. You have to see what are the economic shifts where you live, and prepare yourself based on your timelines to get to your end goal. So in the context of management, I would scale it down to, or summarize it as to what I just said. Time management, operational in terms of knowing your competition, and building markets in terms of what is going to be as a new product or contribution to the nation's economy. And lastly, also having that mindset and character whereby you know how to prioritize your steps and your tasks ahead. Maybe Dash, you want to add a few more points to that?
Yeah. So if I would take it from an entrepreneur perspective, I think when an entrepreneur or someone in the technology is just only studying technology, what happens is you become too focused on technology and you're just so in love with technology. And the part of management is about communicating this technology to the people you are working with, to fit the technology to people. Technology cannot stand by itself. Technology has no value on itself without it feeding into the needs of people. Whether you are an entrepreneur or you're not an entrepreneur, you're working in an organization, you need to make sure that you are able to communicate. Communication is very important. I don't know what the contents of the management program are at APU, but I would think that students should always embrace the social aspect, the management aspect of whatever it is. If you fall too much in love with technology, then you're closer to the machine. The closer you are to the machine, you'll just be working on the machine, but you won't be able to communicate and understand the needs of people. So I think a balance is important, and having a broader perspective is also very important.
Yeah. And also from a perspective of technology, right? Technology is an enabler. You are not developing technology. You can, I'm not saying you can't, but in the perspective of across the board, yeah, whether it's technology, engineering, or social sciences, business, finance, the works, technology will always be an enabler. So adoption and adaptiveness to technology is important for an entrepreneur to set himself on his journey towards building his product, for example. Yeah.
So we
Okay.
have a question from Ellen. Do you think the module entrepreneurship taught in the university has to be more practical rather than
Yeah.
just theory?
Yes. Yes. Okay. So I think there's a sorry, Prof. Can I take the question?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. I think the module on entrepreneurship that is currently being put in Asia Pacific University, you'll be shocked to see how practical it is. It's very, very much a practical thing, not just theory of this or that. It's if you have an idea what it means to be an entrepreneur, how do I take the idea to market? It's very, very catered for practical. It's so practical that you will be amazed at how it is. Yes,
Yeah.
I
Just to
agree.
add on to Dash's view on it, we are revolutionizing the curriculum in terms of entrepreneurship embedment. Yeah. So entrepreneurship will not only be theory based. You can't run away from theories, right? Everything starts with theories. Yeah. So theories will be there, but it will also be very activity based. Yeah. So it's all aligned to a lot of the talks, the sharing sessions with startup uh, people who have experienced success, and also with CEOs and CTOs who are building innovation in their organizations. It's also boot camps where we deep dive into the core ingredients to building a new startup or a new business, and then we also judge them, we measure them, and uh, by them pitching ideas and stuff like that. So we are actually nurturing them. So they are talents. We seed them with the theories, and then we nourish them, and then we take them to the end goal, which is a win-win situation between the university and the students. Yeah, and it's very important that everyone understands that nothing can be solved with just theories. It has to go into the implementation and the practice, yeah, which is the practical side of things.
Yeah. And the theory is there to support the practical part why you're doing something and all that. Yeah. Happy to take some more questions if there are.
Are there any more questions, Afshan?
No, I think that's pretty much it. Thank you so much, Prof. Vinesh and Mr. Dash. Is there anything else you would like to say before you guys take a leave?
Okay, I'll let Dash give his last fire words.
I always like to quote Paul Romer. He said economic growth does not come from more cooking, but comes from better recipes. So you don't want to just keep on doing the same thing. You want to be a great recipe maker, and that's what it is. And that's what APU and any really good entrepreneurship program should prepare someone to be. Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you, Dash. And my last words would be we are APU. What we do is nurture talents. We build graduates for employment, and that is an important goal in any student that joins us. Yeah, it is not just about getting a qualification; it is going one step ahead in ensuring employment. So that's what we do. Come and join us. We are the best in terms of entrepreneurship, and we will build your innovative mindset and take it to another level where you will benefit, and so will your family. Yeah. Thank you, Afshan. Thank you, Dash. It has
Thank
been
you,
a great
Prof.
1 hour on the webinar today, and hope to see you again. Everyone have a great weekend. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Prof. Vinesh and Mr. Dash, for joining us this evening.
Okay. Thank you.
Right. Thank you so much, all the viewers who have tuned in, and we hope you enjoyed this session and this has been insightful. So, as we have come to the end of this session 3, later on at 6 p.m., we have another session whereby we'll be talking about dual degree awards with De Montfort University. And that will be coming up at 6 p.m. on our Facebook and also YouTube channel. Once again, before I leave, you can always drop by on our website, join our APU's e-Open Day, which is happening now. Thank you again, Prof. Vinesh and Mr. Dash, for your valuable time and joining us this Friday afternoon to share some information about entrepreneurship here at APU. And from all of us here, thank you very much and see you for the next one. Bye-bye.